Hey everyone, welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour. I'm Joe.
And I'm Serena.
And we are here with you today recapping another past season of The Bachelorette this time. And we did Hannah Brown's season, which is one of the more popular seasons. It was a very entertaining first episode. And I will say the trailer for the full season after the first episode just seemed insane.
The trailer is so good.
Right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
she was like a very fiery bachelorette, so they just had a lot of good moments to pull from with her, I think. I think a lot of the time the trailer is focused on the drama amongst the people in the house, whether that's the guys or the girls, but she had so many iconic moments as a lead that the trailer was action packed.
It really was. Let's get into the episode. Before we do, next week, make sure you stay tuned because we are going to have Hannah Brown on the podcast to talk about her night one and the rest of her season and what else she has going on. So to start the episode off, we see Chris Harrison call Hannah and ask her if she wants to be the Bachelorette.
Yeah.
I watched that. I was like, is this real?
I know you were like shocked by that, but that's basically how every lead finds out. I mean, with Charity, Jesse Palmer like sat her down and told her too. I feel like the host usually asks the lead.
Yeah, I forget that they kind of like have multiple options up until like
The very last second.
Yeah.
So I can understand why like Hannah was so emotional getting that call, because she does get emotional talking to Chris, being like, oh my God, I can't even believe it on The Bachelorette.
She is a very like warm, charismatic person on camera. Like I get why her season was so big and so many people were cheering for her, because she was like, I think she was like number 4 or 5.
No, she didn't even go to Hometowns.
Oh yeah, so she was,
and she had like drama a lot of Colton's season, I think. Like her whole thing was like she was kind of awkward, but I think they turned that into her story this season of her whole thing of I always feel like I have to be perfect and should be perfect. And I think you kind of see her struggle with that on Colton's season. And now she's coming into this season just being like, I'm going to be the true authentic Hannah.
Yeah.
Not like the pageant girl. I mean, her promo was so good. Do you remember her promo?
No.
Her promo was, oh God, I can't remember what the song's name is. I can like hear it in my head, but she has like it's like I think it's called You Don't Own Me.
was she the one that was like in the forest?
Yes, she's walking through the forest. She
I
like
do
takes
remember
off
that.
her crown and her like pageant skirt, and she's in this like blue jumpsuit in the woods. It's very like magical.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's great.
But I just feel like there was a good, like I actually loved Joey's whole thing of like game, set, match with the tennis.
Oh yeah, I did like Joey's.
But Hannah's, I feel like, was a lot of like a personal growth story.
Yeah.
She was undergoing this transformation of like embracing who she is.
Yeah.
So it worked out really well. And she was a really good lead for a lot of different reasons. But I think that was one of them.
Okay, so then let's cut to no, I used why are you laughing at me?
Sometimes I say things and the way you respond, I'm just like, okay, yeah, I'll just go fuck myself.
Yeah. No. Like I mean
Like I'll go on like a 2-minute monologue and you'll be like, right, okay, anyway, so let's talk about something else.
No, what you said is beautiful.
Thanks.
And just lovely. No, I agree. Like I do. I think you're right. And then we get the cast videos.
Yeah, the intros.
Which I'm always surprised how long these are. But I
think it's just because they haven't really been doing them since COVID. Like my season, we didn't really have traditional intro packages. I don't know if Tayshia and Claire's did or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I like them though.
I like them too.
I think you need them.
Yeah, like get in those people's hometowns, get in their family homes.
Yeah.
I wanna see them sitting in their childhood bedroom, like telling you about their life.
Because I feel like you're instantly more you're almost more invested in those especially if you like them. If you like their video and you connect with the person, you're gonna be more invested instantly going into night one.
Yeah. They did do it actually for Joey's season. Now that I'm thinking back, because
Yeah.
I do remember like Lexi and Daisy's
Yeah.
intro packages.
Yeah, and it's because like, and then you're more like you're not only invested in the lead. Now you actually are like, ooh, I like this person too.
Yeah, and then when the girls start coming out of the limos, you're like, oh, I recognize her from the intro package. I recognize her from the intro package. Like it doesn't feel as overwhelming of trying to get to know all these people in a 2-hour episode.
So first person we see is Tyler Cameron's.
Yep, he is the dancing shirtless contractor from Jupiter, Florida.
Yeah.
I feel like he was like, I don't really remember if I'm being honest, but I feel like he must have been like a hit from the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. I would think.
Like it's giving Channing Tatum in Step Up.
Yeah. And like, yeah, you instantly like, you're like, okay, this guy's most likely going to go far. He's going to be a fan favorite.
Really?
I think so. Off that video, but then we're cut to like the episode.
He's not in it at all.
He doesn't even have a conversation with her.
Yeah. You don't see him whatsoever.
So like,
it's hard to remember, like thinking back, like if he kind of like blew up right then and there, if it took a little while.
Well, I heard, and I don't know who I even heard this from and how true it is.
Is Tyler Cameron the most followed person, the most followed male in Bachelor Nation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he, I don't know how true this is, but I did hear like Hannah was like, I don't even need to talk to him. Like he's so good looking. Like I'll keep him here for next week,
really?
kind of thing. Yeah, but like that could be made up. I don't know.
I mean, but like fair,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if she's like, we had a good out of the limo experience and he's so attractive, like if we're trying to narrow it down, like bump him to next week.
Yeah, I feel like that's actually smart. Like if I was the lead and like there was one or two girls that I was like, okay, I'm really attracted to them. I really like their limo entrance. Like I want to get to know them more.
Yeah.
Like I'm not worried they're going to be here next week. Like you don't really need to have that conversation.
I guess. I mean, there's so many people to talk to, like anything to narrow it down, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we see Tyler Cameron, we see Peter.
Yeah. It makes sense that Tyler and Pete are the first two that we see. And then seeing Pete's, it's like I'm watching it and I'm just like, it makes so much sense. Like
What
this
makes so
guy,
much sense?
he's the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Like he becomes like I'm watching, I'm like, okay, this is his intro
To be the Bachelor.
for sure. And we see. Should we get into like his conversation with Hannah or no? You want to go more in order?
Whatever.
No, we'll go in order. And then the third person we see, we won't talk about all these, but the third person, because he's another big character in the show who goes pretty far, and he ends up going on Bachelor in Paradise, is Mike Johnson.
Yeah.
And Mike definitely gives off like that lovable. He's got a big smile.
Mike's just like a lover boy.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Luke.
Oh, and Luke. Yeah.
Who I would say is by far the most controversial character of the season. Potentially one of the more controversial contestants in the franchise.
Yeah, and I feel like Luke.
I wonder if he's like married now with kids.
I don't know, but I feel like just off of his intro, and then we'll talk about how he came out of the limo. It's almost impossible not to be like, okay, this guy is gonna be the villain of the season, or at least he's not gonna get along with majority of the guys.
You think he gave that like right away?
I think so. I
don't know if I got that vibe.
No?
But maybe. I don't know if the first episode. I'm pulling him up on Instagram. He must be married. Yeah, she's wearing a ring. But he's having a baby boy. They just did a gender reveal.
Oh, nice.
It's a boy.
Well, there we go. 5 years later. 4 or 5 years later.
Well, congratulations to Luke and his wife.
Yeah.
If your business needs a new application,
Family Talk with Straight Talk.
Hi, I'm Cindy Crawford, and I'm the...
Okay, so limos, who stood out to you?
I'm going to be honest. There weren't really a lot of limo standouts to me. Luke jumping on top of the limo and
roaring
doing
like a lion.
Yeah, like beast mode Hannah. That stood out to me for sure.
Yeah.
That stood out to me for sure. I mean, the people that stood out, it's hard because it's a lot of the people that we know. that I
Actually, see,
recognize.
I feel like there was more people that stood out that that were not that big in the season, or we don't really know that much about. Like that Cam, who
Cam stood out because he came out rapping.
Annie had a rose already.
He had a rose already, which I forgot about.
Yeah.
Cam got a rose at the AFR for Colton season, where they announced Hannah was the Bachelorette, and then they brought out a few guys to meet her. And one of them was actually Luke, and one of them was Cam, and she gave Cam the first impression rose at that night. So he came into the mansion rapping ABC Cam, always be Cam. That's his slogan. I'm surprised that she gave him the first impression rose.
Well, I would have to rewatch the AFR.
Yes, I would have to go back and see what their interaction was.
Yeah, because I would be shocked if she gave it to him if he didn't have a rose and just like the little freestyle out of the limo, and then he gets the.
Well, that's my thing. I think that if he met her on night one for the first time and not after the final rose, I don't think he would have gotten the first impression rose there.
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem like there's like a strong connection. And then old Matt Donald stood out. He had an intro package too that we didn't talk about.
He had an intro package. He stood out as like the nice.
He just seems like a sweet guy.
Super sweet, innocent guy. I will say Peter.
Peter is the only one that I watched and I was like, whoa, they have like instant chemistry.
Yeah, and how they set him up was they sent out some other guy. I forget his name.
Another pilot,
but I want to get him. I want to get his name right. Oh, Chasen. So they sent out a guy named Chasen who was also a pilot, and he came out in a suit. And then you hear the music. The music goes, and Pete walks out in his pilot uniform.
He just looks so much more official than the other dude.
Yeah, and him and Hannah had chemistry immediately.
Yeah, and it was kind of fun to watch because if you guys have been listening, we watched Peter's episode 1 a few weeks ago and interviewed him about it. And Hannah Brown came out of the limo last as not a contestant on Peter's season, but basically there to wish him luck. And she gives him a pair of wings that he gives her. I'm doing this out of order. I should have started with the other way. But basically, Peter comes out of the limo. He gives Hannah Brown a pair of wings, like aviation wings. It's like a little brooch. And then Hannah, when Peter becomes the lead, gives those wings back to him and is like, these are for you for when you find your wife. It was actually really cute.
It's like the turtle doves in Home Alone 2. That's what it reminds me of.
What?
Yeah. You'll see when we watch it around this Christmas.
I mean, I've watched it. Oh,
So
I know what you're talking
the
about.
Scene
Yeah,
where
yeah.
he gets it from the guy in the toy store, and then he meets the woman in the park, and then
He gives it to her.
he gives it to her, like never be alone kind of thing. This reminds me.
That's very sweet.
The another one, probably the only other limo I would say would be Connor S, because he did, which I thought was actually pretty smart, that he jumped over the fence, which
That
is
was
a call
cute.
back to Colton jumping over the fence on his season. And yeah, I mean, it's just a way to show off the fact that you're athletic. So
There's
yeah.
also the guy that was in the package and was like, this package isn't complete without you.
The box guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember his
Box
face or his
King
name.
from Chicago, Joe. The
Yeah,
box King
Joe, the
from
box kid from Chicago. Yeah. Wait, no, is his name Joe?
Yeah, his name's Joe.
Yeah, he stood out to me as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually did he go home right away? I think he did. Let me look.
Are you sure his name's Joe? Or
Yeah, his name's
Joey?
Joe. No, Joe.
There's no Joe.
You got to eliminate it.
Oh, yeah, Joe the Box King from Chicago. He stood out to me. All right, let's get into some of the chats.
Dum.
Dum dum dum.
Which one do you want to get into? Who so
mean-
Luke, I think Luke grabs her first.
Luke grabs her first. Luke and her have a good chat.
Yeah.
It's one of the better ones.
I were watching it, you said like this is actually going well.
It's going well. It's flirty. He says something along the lines of like, you know, I don't know you, but I'm really into you. And I liked that line. I thought it was a good line. I hate it when people come and they're like, oh my God, like I just saw you and, you know, I think our values are aligned. I think we're so compatible, blah, blah, blah. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I shouldn't hate on those people. But it's like, you don't know this person, right? And like, I think the way to make it feel the most organic is to go in like kind of aware and acknowledging that even though you maybe have watched this person on TV, you don't really know them and who they are. So I think like Luke kind of starting off with that, but also being like, basically like, I think you're hot. Like I'm into it. I'm excited. I want to get to know you. I'm like ready to like actively pursue you and see where it could go. I thought was a good line. It was just very flirty and fun. And
I think he also saved himself from his limo conversation, because the limo conversation was, I'm the king of the jungle and I'm looking for my queen.
Yeah, that was
which is never
not
like,
a great opening line.
Which is always like, oh, I'm the man and I need my side piece. Like that's essentially what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like I'm the king and I rule everything and you come along with me.
Is that what your definition of
Well,
a queen is?
that's definitely how she took it.
Yeah.
I mean, you see her face of like, slow down, big guy. Like,
yeah,
you're not the king.
Like, I'm the fucking king.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm calling the
I'm
shots.
the king of Bachelor
Yeah.
Mansion. Like, get your ass inside.
So I think he did save himself. I actually think it was important for him to have that first conversation.
I think so too. I agree.
'Cause
Because his entrance was memorable because he obviously got on top of the limo and roared, but I don't know if I would say it was like went really, really well.
Yeah,
But I would say his first conversation went really well.
definitely.
You see a little bit of Mike Johnson in her conversation. I just feel like it's so indicative of like who Mike is. Like, he's asking her like really deep questions about like, why do you think that? And why are you that way? And what makes you feel that way? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like Mike coded.
But also Mike, it's smart because Mike does a good job of
He's good at connecting with people.
Yeah, and asking her about herself, where most people night one feel like they're the one being interrogated, so they do majority just talking about themselves.
Yeah, because they're like, oh my God, I want this person to get to know me so that they don't send me home. Yeah. But I think that him sitting there asking her questions about who she is and why she feels the way she does is going to make him stand out in a different way.
Yeah.
And then we see Jed, who, spoiler alert, ends up getting engaged to Hannah at the end of the season. He sings her a song. He actually has a beautiful voice. Like, I'll give him that. Like,
he does.
I don't know why I remembered him as like some mediocre like folk singer. I was like, wow, this is lovely. He has a beautiful songbird of a voice.
Well, I remember saying that in Wells telling me, like, I think Wells was living in Nashville at the time, or Wells used to live in Nashville, and he's like, oh, actually that wasn't about Jed. It was about Connor in Paradise, where he's like, yeah, there's about 7,000 of them every night at a different bar in Nashville.
Sure, yeah, there's a million people out there with good voices, especially in Nashville. But I was like,
no, Jed's voice was good.
He has a good voice, you know? Like,
he's got a good voice.
There's a lot of people out there, and Jed's one of them.
Now watching night one, would you have pegged that she would choose Jed?
I would have been like, he's up there.
He's up there?
He's really handsome, and she definitely has a type, and I think he kind of falls into that category. And yeah, but I don't know. It's hard when you don't see people actually speak to one another. Like, she definitely seemed into him when he was singing to her.
Yeah.
But until you see like an actual conversation between two people, it's hard to get a vibe.
What a season. I can't believe she chose Jed, and then he ends up having a girlfriend that like... But then he fell in love with her.
I don't know if he had a girlfriend. This is the thing. And I actually, okay, well, this can lead us into the drama of the night. If I'm sitting Jed down, or a guy that is on this show that potentially has bad intentions, I'm going, do you have a girlfriend back home? And they go, no. My follow-up question is immediately, is there a girl back home that maybe thinks she is or could be your girlfriend now or in the near future? Because that is a different question. And that answer is often yes.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe you're not calling that girl your girlfriend. Maybe you never asked her to be your girlfriend. Maybe you are not in a relationship in your own mind. But is there a girl that maybe you've led to believe could be your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Or when you get back, might be your girlfriend?
Yeah. And the response to that is, Depends.
I don't know. You'd have to ask her.
Well, what kills me are the guys that do it and then have the girl back home and tell her via fucking text message, don't worry, I'm coming back for you. It's like, you fucking idiot. Like, why?
Like, first of all, don't be putting that stuff in writing.
Yeah.
Second of all, just what's wrong with you?
Yeah, just don't be like, hey, listen, we have a little fling. Neither of us are taking it too serious. I'm going on The Bachelorette. I may fall in love. That's what's going to happen. If I come back and I'm single and you want to go on another date, sure.
Maybe.
But
But,
it doesn't seem like this is going...
Great. Even then, that's not great. Even then, like,
Hi, I'm Cindy.com.
Demi got a DM that there was a guy.
Night one. There's a guy night one. Demi and Katie. Here's the thing for people listening that obviously didn't just watch Hannah Brown's episode last night. There is a guy night one. This kind of correlates to Jeb, but it more so correlates to what happened night one. There's a guy night one. Demi and Katie Mo show up. Katie Mo, right?
They do like a CSI surveillance van where they're watching Hannah Brown's conversation because Demi got a DM that there was a guy in the house that supposedly has a girlfriend, and Demi fucked up because it was Jed. So she technically
she pegged the wrong guy.
Demi technically ruined her entire season because she picked the wrong guy who also so happened to have a girlfriend.
So this guy, what was this guy's name?
He was from Chicago.
I just wrote girlfriend drama.
His name was Scott.
Yes. So they pull Hannah out, and Demi's like, that guy Scott that you were just talking to, what'd you think? And Hannah's like, I don't know, he was nice. And Demi's like, well, I got a DM earlier today with screenshots of text messages between him and this girl that he basically was like, I'm going to the show, but like, wait for me, and like, we'll date when I get back. And they like, there was like a whole bunch of other stuff, just words of commitment to this girl. So Hannah walks in and she goes, Scott, we need to talk. Pulls into the backyard. It does not look good for Scott. The conversation was not how I expected it to go.
Well, yeah, because he fought back. He was like,
was like, I'm not. He like was rude to her.
How about when he was like, well, you were just dating Colton?
Oh my God, I know. He immediately threw that in her face, and she's like, that's not the same. He's like, well, it kind of is. I mean, you were literally just trying to get engaged to him 2 months ago.
Yeah.
It's like, Scott, like, you're digging your own grave, buddy.
And I think the show probably knew right then and there that Hannah Brown was the right choice because she went about that in such a like, oh, he has a boyfriend? Okay. And just pulls him like, let's talk, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing where, yeah, like it was just like she didn't try to like sugarcoat it or be like, hey, I heard this. She was like, you're a scumbag. the guy's like, what? No, not. I don't. And then he's like, yeah, but I kind of do. And
well, he immediately was like, no, I don't have a girlfriend. And then she pushed further. And then he was like, well, yeah, I was like dating before the show. And then she was like, okay, so what's the deal? And he was like, well, you were just dating Colton, so screw you.
Yeah,
and
wow.
She was like, what the hell?
What a comeback. What a way to combat that. Okay. So that was kind of the drama.
She's all flustered. And then, I mean, look, what is your take on people dating before they go on the show?
I think it's normal. I think here, like they're casting people who are in their mid, late, in 20s and early 30s. Most of the people that they cast have a hard time being in serious relationships, are somewhat serial daters, are kind of dating, not dating, going out, hooking up, not, it's I feel like most people that go on the shows dating lives are already a little on the messier side. Mm-hmm. Because if you're single, things are a little messy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's not that
truly, it's very rare to find someone that's fully unattached to anyone.
Yeah.
at the time you're going on the show. Because here's the thing, like, you either apply or you get nominated. And for most people, there's then months in between that until casting. And then you don't really find out if you're going on the show until 2 weeks before.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that like a 27-year-old is gonna, for those, 1, 3, 6, sometimes more months, just sit at home and not talk to anyone, not flirt with anyone, not go on dates is very unlikely.
Yeah, I don't even care if you're in a relationship.
Oh, no.
No,
Are you sure?
If you break it off before you go on the show, if you end things before
Yes.
you go, if you are dating someone for 3 months and you're like, I know in my heart this isn't going anywhere, and you follow up on potentially going on The Bachelorette, and then you get the call and you're like, hey, like, I don't see this relationship going anywhere.
Okay, but let me stop you right there. I do think there's a problem if you're applying or in casting while you're in a relationship.
I should say this. If you apply, once you apply to go on The Bachelor, you should make sure that the person that you're dating or talking to knows that this is not going anywhere.
Yes.
That this is
your serious relationship is over,
yes.
or your casual relationship is aware, like, hey,
We
can
both
hang
sides
out,
are aware.
we can have fun, but like this is not a serious thing, and I'm potentially going on this dating show where I want to pursue something serious,
Yes.
and I'm not pursuing something serious with you. And I think once you get cast, it's like this is cut off.
Yeah. And I do think there are scenarios where both parties believe that it was casual, and then one person gets on the show and the other one gets pissed
Yeah, for sure.
and says that it wasn't as casual as it was. But I just think as long as both people are on the same page that it's casual and it's nothing serious, then I don't have a problem with it. It's when the other person thinks it's serious, you tell them that you're coming back for them.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, then what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. 100%. It's like, well, why are you here? You've got someone like on the hook back at home, like
Yeah.
sitting in the warming drawer waiting for you.
Yeah, that's what it's stupid. But yeah, and then the other big thing, so Luke P gets the first impression rose, which after his conversation with her, and then he pulls her again after she kicks that guy out of the house.
Yeah. Bye, Scott. Hello, Luke. He's like a shoulder to cry on in that moment.
Yeah, and I think watching it, I feel like Hannah herself felt the most comfortable with Luke night one. So I feel like that's usually who gets the first impression rose is where you find comfortability.
Mm-hmm.
So that I think that all lines up. One of the crazier things is Tyler Cameron doesn't have a one-on-one conversation.
Well, not one that we saw though. He might have, and we might have just not seen it.
But
I think you're right. I don't think.
I think
we would have definitely have been shown the conversation if they had one.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah, dude's just chilling all night with the bros. He's probably like, I'm going home. If I was him, I'd be like, I'm definitely going home.
Yeah. So yeah, that all lines up, and then we see the trailer for the rest of the season, which was awesome.
Trailer was good. The trailer was a lot of Hannah yelling at the guys, Hannah yelling at Luke, which you can't tell. It was actually so funny though, because obviously the iconic moment from the season is her yelling at Luke saying, I have had sex and Jesus still loves me. And it's this big fight that they have. I think it's like the week of Fantasy Suite. So like the whole season is building to it. But in the teaser, they cut to show her talking. They make it look like she's talking to Dylan Barber in the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's like Hannah freaking out and like Dylan in like a white suit, but just like knowing that it's not him. But yeah, some of the people that went on to like Paradise and other things. We saw Cam in Paradise, Luke P. We've never seen again. Connor S. in Paradise, Dylan, who's now with Hannah G.
John Paul Jones,
who famously dated Tayshia in Paradise. Mike Johnson, obviously a fan favorite. Peter went on to be The Bachelor. Tyler Cameron went on to just be famous.
Yeah.
And he has his new show out. So a lot of people from this cast.
Yeah, no, this was a big season. I remember this one because it was the one after.
The cast is good too. Like coming out of the limo, like there's a lot of like good looking guys, a lot of good entrances.
Yeah, and I feel like it was a lot of younger guys, which made sense because Hannah was younger.
Yeah, I think she was like 25.
Yeah.
She looked amazing. Like, truly one of the best night one looks. I loved what she wore. Her hair, her jewelry, her glam, like everything came together really nicely. She had a lot of really good looks. She had a white dress this season that looked really good on her too. That was like a similar silhouette, like spaghetti strap, kind of like scoop necky vibes.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, well, next week we're going to have Hannah Brown on to talk about it. So make sure you stay tuned to that, and we'll talk about everything else she has going on. I know she just released a new book that we have in our apartment right now. So yeah, make sure you stay tuned to that. And if you're not subscribed to Happy Hour, please do, because we have new and exclusive interviews every week, and Jen's season of The Bachelorette will be coming out sooner than you know it. So make sure you stay tuned.
Thanks for listening. Bye.